Hi guys, welcome to another commentated replay from Armies of Exigo. This time with another 1v1 matchup between Suvak and Makrozerk, and in this video it will be a mirror of two empires. So let's unpause it. In the bottom left corner we have Makrozerk with the green color, and as I said, the empire same as Suvak with empire in the top right corner and the blue color. So once again we got the map Dark Side Forest, same as we got the last time, even though that was empire against Fallen. So this time a bit of a change, double empire. Many people actually say that they don't like to watch or play, doesn't really matter what, mirror matchups, that it's kinda bland, yeah, not much action happening there. Yeah, I mean, it's probably interesting if you have more races there in the game, but of course it can be also kinda interesting to see how the players deal with it, because this is basically perfect balance. Dark Side Forest, I also kinda talked about the small imbalances of the positions on this map when you spawn next to each other in 1v1. I talked about it in the previous video. Now they are across the map, so it's even more balanced. They have exactly same race, so all the conditions are exactly the same. So this is just pure test of skill, I think. Yeah, you can't really have any excuses when you play the same race on some races being broken or something like that. So I think this is also nice in certain ways. We can mix in few mirrors like this, and we'll see how this will end. So yeah, for now both players starting with the standard opener. Makrozerk actually deciding to place his farm in the back to keep the squishier building a little bit more safe, while he has the barracks in the front, and he will probably place a second barracks here a little bit later, while Suvak going for the more traditional opener, I would say, going for a farm here and a barracks. Looks like he actually left a small gap here. I think that was unintentional, so now he will block it with second barracks, plus he has of course still the small gap here. But I don't think, maybe catapults can get through there and knights, but I don't think so. But might be possible. There is definitely big enough gap here between the barracks of Makrozerk. So I think it's basically the same. He will have a little bit sooner second barracks than Suvak, but Suvak actually is getting his second farm now, while Makrozerk is going for blacksmith. Yeah, so already we see some small differences, both players deciding to go for a little bit different approaches. I don't think you necessarily need the blacksmith early on in Empire Mirror, because spikemen are pretty much useless. You don't need them in Empire matches unless you meet knights or catapults. And elf rangers are actually kinda good to include, but I think early on you can just work with just swordsmen, and especially once you get also trailblazing, it can be actually pretty powerful to just mess as many swordsmen as possible. You can also try to add some priests and stuff like that in later, but for now I think this is not necessary this early, but you can also just get the upgrades there, yeah? It's not only for unlocking the units, you can also upgrade the swordsman there, so that's another option. But he's actually going for the upgrade of iron arrows, which is for elven rangers, which is the basic ranged unit from the barracks that you unlock by making the blacksmith. And I think he will go for mass archers, so kinda like a full ranged army right from the beginning, which is pretty common for the other two races, either goblin riders / hunters or spitters for Fallen. But with Empire we usually see more melee unit focused armies. But in this matchup I think we'll see some nice combination. Even though, I mean, yeah, Makrozerk is getting the iron arrows, but he's still producing swordsmen, so I'm not sure when he wants to switch to the elf rangers. But Suvak is nicely scouting here with a peasant, only 6 HP remaining, but he still scouted a tier 2, he scouted a blacksmith. He haven't seen any elf rangers, they are none yet, but now we start to see the production, so looks like it's 5 swordsmen into elf rangers. That's the strategy that Makrozerk is going for here. Suvak also has 5 swordsmen for now, but he doesn't have his blacksmith yet, and he's making a temple on a really front position. He's maintaining pressure here, so he doesn't have to be too worried about anything, but a nice skill there on the peasant of Makrozerk, delaying this tower that is of course being built here to prepare for an expansion. And now first archer is joining the fight. Suvak saw him, he got hit by him like 2 times I believe, and now we'll see what will be the response of him. Yeah, immediately getting the trailblazing, even though that was queued up even before he saw the elf ranger, but it will be definitely pretty useful. Elf ranger is just a weaker raw power, yeah, you have 2 less damage without any upgrades, and also 80 less HP while having 0 armor against 1, so it's just weaker, but of course it's a ranged unit, so if you have many of them you can nicely focus fire units one by one, utilize it to harass buildings when there are towers or things like that. So elf rangers are still good. Now there was a mistake in micromanagement from Makrozerk. He left one elf ranger here, so That was a free kill for Suvak, getting some free experience for one of his swordsmen. And also a nice kill there, setting Makrozerg the 2 population behind that we see there as a difference. Suvak is saving up for expansion, but Makrozerg is already building it, so he's a little bit ahead in macro once again. Both pairs having a tower there, even though Suvak didn't upgrade it yet. Makrozerg is already upgrading it, but Suvak has earlier temple, so he already has 2 priests, he has 5 swordsmen and 1 elf ranger, while Makrozerg has the same amount of swordsmen, but 2 more elf rangers, but he doesn't have the 2 priests. So army is basically the same size, just the casters there on the side of Suvak, which should be definitely way more valuable. So Suvak's army will be a little bit stronger now, but he still shouldn't be able to push at all against the tower here. And there is another tower here, which we see on the side of Suvak as well. Yeah, 2 towers, 1 protecting each base. Both players on tier 2 producing some extra peasants for their expansions. We don't see any upgrades in blacksmith being made now. Small skirmish. Makrozerg definitely wants to retreat to the tower. First of all to utilize it, second of all to avoid, or I mean to just play it safe when there are the priests. He also needs to get his own priest. He has only 1 now, but yeah, now the tower is joining the fight. And nice snipe kill there with the tower. It's a huge range that the towers can produce. So that was a nice kill. Another swordsman falling to 6 HP, but yeah, he has trailblazing, which Makrozerg doesn't have, so Suvak will outrun him there. And doesn't even seem like Makrozerg wants to get trailblazing, because he's not really focusing on swordsman anymore. He's going pure elf rangers, which is something we also kinda see from Suvak here. He's getting actually double advanced barracks, but yeah, now I think he will mainly try to rely on this tower. Also getting resurrection, okay. And expansion is finished, but he's not really gathering here yet. He will have to bring some peasants from his main base in a second. Some small fights here happening. I think he still doesn't have the trailblazing, as I said, so he's not focusing on that, which means he might lose something here, but also the priests of Suvak are also slow, and now he actually left them there. That's a big of a mistake, because they're really slow. They have to run with the army. They will still be behind, but if you just leave them behind like this, that might be dangerous. But maybe Suvak doesn't want to fight him, he just wanted to get some kills there. He didn't want to have the slow priest in the front line when he started retreating, so maybe this was actually intentional, and he still got a nice 1 kill there on the peasant, on the priest. So I think it was actually quite worth it. Still no more peasants here. He's definitely over-gathering here, so he should probably bring some of them to the other base. Makrozerg has more here, as you can see, it's now 13 population ahead, so it's like 10 if we even the resources, so he's a little bit ahead in terms of macro, which is always a huge advantage if you have the same races, of course, but potentially the Suvak's army could be a little bit better in terms of composition. He has so many more priests, so he just needs to add the normal units to that, and it will be really strong. We even see pikemen being added, and now there is 3rd barracks, plus he has 2 advanced barracks, so it's like 5 barracks in total, also getting the precision archery, and now also a gnome workshop, so potentially for some catapults, which is also what Makrozerg is doing, also getting the resurrection, so that's also something we see on both sides, but Makrozerg has only 1 advanced barracks and 1 normal barracks, plus he's not building the, actually now he's building new ones, yeah, but he still doesn't have the 2nd advanced barracks, so the production should be a little bit slower for Makrozerg anyways. He's getting first upgrade for swordsman as well, so potentially also adding some melee units again really soon, even though he still doesn't have the trailblazing. He's also making 11th century, either for dryads or phoenixes for scouting, but just overall probably for air protection as well. And now he's going to scout the attempt of Suvak to get an expansion here, or just set up towers for now. But of course Suvak will quickly respond with his army, but yeah, his army is definitely a bit weaker now. He's 16 population behind. He has the pikemen there that won't be too effective against this. He can potentially use the elixirs of strength to get even more movement speed than the swordsmen have with trailblazing, and he can rush onto the enemy priests, but the pike damage won't help there in any way. But looks like he's rather going for some arc drops with the pikemen. He has a gnome arc now, he placed 4 pikemen into it, and he's flying somewhere, so maybe he wants to drop here on the villagers. That might be a plan. Of course, pikemen still have more damage than swordsmen. You have 1 extra damage even without the elixir, and the elixir is another 3 damage. So together you can have 4 more damage on each pikeman for some time than we have on the swordsman. This swordsman probably scouted this arc, but I don't think Makrozerg was watching there, but potentially we will see. Actually, he's moving his elf rangers back, so yeah, probably he saw the arc actually. He was kinda lucky to watch there at the exact same moment, because I think he saw the arc for like maybe 1 or 2 seconds, so Not much time there, but yeah, he scouted it. We'll see if Subak will still drop here. Yeah, he's not bothered by these Elf Rangers at all, forcing the villagers away from the gold and of course slowing down the income there a little bit of Makrozerk, who is actually fighting it with the Elf Rangers on melee range. He should have definitely hidden them in the Stone Keep and wait for more units or just tank it with something else. Now we just lost lots of Elf Rangers plus the income speed. Another push here from Pikeman. Makrozerk not responding, so Subak is nicely dominating this situation with multitasking, pushing on multiple different spots at the same time, while also finishing his expansion really quickly. So now it's 3 bases on both sides. I think probably both of them built it with teamwork. So building it with 5 peasants at once for some extra speed. Nice job here again with the Pikeman getting some extra kills. And I think Subak is now nicely turning around the population that Makrozerk had. Advantage of like 10 population, and now Subak has that advantage. So Subak gained like 20 supply advantage with this push. Now he's gonna lose some units here, unfortunately. Too many archers already. So once again falling back a little bit, but he's still a little ahead. Even though, yeah, as you can see, probably lots of peasants actually died here. So Makrozerk now needs to recover on this economy loss. He's also not getting any gems here yet on the expansion, which Subak is definitely gaining, even with 3 peasants on this distance. What is the tier? Still Stone Keep for both of them, so we don't see any mages anytime soon. Nice stop here once again. The peasant actually could have maybe fought back, but the Pikeman has some upgrades, so probably wouldn't die anyways. Now Subak is trying to push it, and yeah, the Pikeman immediately running onto the catapults. That's a huge value once again, but the Elf Rangers can snipe them pretty quickly, so actually it wasn't too many kills there on the catapults. I think he didn't kill a single one, but Resurrections once again working. He's also trying to take down the Elf Rangers. He also has his own catapult there, bringing more and more units. But also Resurrection from Makrozerk as well, so we have Resurrections on both sides. There is one catapult hidden within the trees, not even really visible too much, and all the pikemen of Subak actually kinda fell down here. But there are definitely heavy losses on both sides, population still kinda balanced, still getting closer and closer to each other, even though Subak is still a little bit ahead. We don't even see any more expansion attempts from either of them. Looks like, yeah, this is heavy pressure. Another lost catapult there for Makrozerk. But there is the tower, so I don't think Subak wants to really push into that. And now the melee units might be a bit of a problem. Subak doesn't really have much to fight this back. He has to target it down with the Elf Rangers, but I think he will lose lots of units now here. He tried to do some pressure. Actually, he's getting onto the enemy backline. I think he could have maybe killed the priest there, but even like this, all the catapults doing the work there, and he's actually once again pushing Makrozerk back. Even though at one moment it actually seemed like he might lose everything there, but he still got quickly taken down. And now he's setting up another expansion, which Makrozerk is kinda trying to do as well, but he's getting immediately scouted by the Spikeman, nicely avoiding death with the movement speed buff. Also, I still believe Makrozerk didn't make the trailblazing upgrade, even though he has so many swordsmen, but maybe I'm mistaken. And he already has it. Yeah, actually, yeah, this is already fast. I think he already got it. But we saw Phoenix from Makrozerk here, so I think he scouted this expansion. So he's immediately going for it, but at the same time he now sees the army here, so he has to retreat, otherwise he will lose his more valuable base actually. So he doesn't have any peasants here yet, so that's not that valuable as a fully working base that is already set up. But now looks like, yeah, I mean, Subak sees him, of course he's trying to run into his backline. Kinda pushing him from two sides. Subak is sadly missing any front line. That's a bit of a problem that I see there. All of these swordsmen are really durable, and I think Subak once again, it's not looking too good for him. He might lose everything here, and he will this time. So we'll see if we can recover from that. The catapults were not enough to splash down the backline quickly enough in this situation, and Makrozerk is now gaining a huge advantage of 21 actually population there. So that's a huge gain. Of course, now also getting an expansion, while Subak also has this one now, but he's actually not power building it. Maybe he still doesn't have teamwork. He has some towers here, but they are not finished yet. Also, there's lots of catapults, so it won't be even that efficient. And Subak just doesn't have the army now to fight this back, to be honest. The towers will be finished in a second, so he will wait for the catapults probably. Maybe he can kill one tower. No, he's just running into that. He doesn't even care about the towers. And they will probably die anyways pretty quickly. Pikemen definitely quickly need to go on these catapults. and catapults on the priests if Subak wants to win this, but he's getting kind of pushed back by all of these archers with nice auras and everything, but the towers are also dealing some decent damage, pushing Makrozerg back. Once again, he will need to utilize his catapults if he wants to continue pushing here, which he probably wants to. We don't see any split pushing right now on other bases, but Makrozerg is still expanding during this fight. But Subak investing the resources into more units, so now he catched up on the population difference once again, doing some interesting movement there, probably trying to avoid the catapults or something, or he was really undecisive, but eventually he just kinda retreated, started shooting with the catapults again, making some more barracks, just trying to create really strong infrastructure here, some tankiness that might soak some damage, but overall he's still falling more and more behind in terms of the army, losing lots of units, and this is just so many kills for Makrozerg. 9 kills here on the catapults is not even that many, but he has so many units that have some form of kills. He has 6 kills archers. It's just huge value if you create 1 archer and he kills 6 other units. Doesn't even really matter what units those are. But we see a mage even from Makrozerg. I don't think he has decree yet, but it's still the protective shell there that is gonna gain him 15% physical damage reduction to all of his units that are targeted by that. So that's a huge value for Makrozerg, making this army even tankier. This base already protected by towers. This one is gonna finish in a second as well. So I'm trying to desperately catch up on the bases, but for now it's not looking too good for him. He is still 20 population behind, no resources, still falling short in terms of the bases a little bit. Even though, yeah, I mean the bases are kinda balanced, but Makrozerg will have this now, which Subak will have much later. We'll see how quickly he can get value from that. The mage is here. I think he already has decree probably, he's not researching it. There is not the most amount of peasants once again, yeah, so Makrozerg has lots of bases, but he's not getting full value from them. While Subak, I mean here could be also a little bit more peasants, but this base is definitely full. But the Makrozerg is still getting head home, which will finish now. Subak already drained that, because he was not getting harassed by the drops as Makrozerg was. But the Makrozerg still has a little bit more population while having so much more resources, basically double gems and 20 times more gold. Like half of wood, but that's not too important, it's still enough. Subak is nicely slowing him down by repairing the barracks here, tanking the damage from the catapults, behind that making more towers or upgrading them to level 3. And this gives him time to catch up on the army difference, even though he can't waste too much time, because Makrozerg has more resources. He's getting still higher and higher as well, because he doesn't have 200 population yet, and the buildings are falling, so there's just even more lost value for Subak, of course. And now he's getting, yeah, the catapult started hitting Town Hall, and there is no more time to waste, so Subak has to go for the push, and nice swap to Steambirds, bringing the air there, because he knows that I mean, Makrozerg has some air protection, but he doesn't have phoenixes. Actually, there is 1 phoenix, so he can probably deal some damage to these guys, but it was a nice swap there. Decent answer. Makrozerg running into the towers, definitely a bad move. He lost so many swordsmen there immediately, but nice decree, insane value there for Makrozerg, and this might be the winning move. The mages died, but they just killed so many units of Subak. Probably like, I don't know, 20 to 30 population in value. Of course, there was also lots of peasants, but also lots of elven rangers and maybe even some priests. The Steambirds are doing some damage here, but I don't think he has the Hammer of Fire. There is the Phoenix, Elf Rangers also kinda pushing it back. So it kinda killed armies on both sides, but of course Makrozerg now has the macro superiority, even though population is exactly the same. Makrozerg has just 3000 extra gold, so even if he just pumps it into swordsmen and towers and more bases, he should be totally fine. And there is just not too many new options for Subak to actually expand. He's trying to get this, but that will probably get stopped. He has some units there, but Makrozerg can send there whatever he wants. He also has control of this corner, and overall he destroyed this, so that's another base. All the bases are protected by many towers, so that's also really hard to deal with. The Steambirds are here. We'll see maybe some more phoenixes, of course, for Makrozerg, trying to respond also to this threat in the air. Lots of trees actually taken down here. Small protection here, but yeah, of course Makrozerek wants to take that down as soon as possible. One Steambird harassing here, but against the towers you need definitely more of them, and the Phoenixes will quickly respond to it. We still see more and more Steambirds coming, but I don't think it's the right decision right now anymore. It's really strong, but there is just too many answers. Now also the fire arrows from the Elf Rangers that will be even stronger. As you can see, they are just tearing through the Steambirds. Also the mages have fire damage, so there's just so much fire damage in the Empire army. Elf Rangers, mages and Phoenixes that this is just dying too quickly, so I don't think this is too efficient. Now he's really stuck, so if there would be hammers of fire, he could just launch the attack here and totally one-shot the army before Makrozerek can even react. But I don't think he still has the hammer of fire yet. And he really doesn't have any ground army by now. Phoenix is catching up with all the Steambirds, dealing some heavy damage. Makrozerek, yeah, killing maybe... Not killing many, maybe he killed like one Steambird, but he damaged all of them to basically 1 HP, so this is a huge value loss. Some nice tower fights here between the two. Suvak actually capturing this base eventually, but Makrozerek is still gaining more and more advantage in terms of the resources. Now all the Steambirds died. They didn't really kill anything, and Suvak is on 0 resources right now. Doesn't have any gems or gold, while Makrozerek still has so many more resources. We see the push. Pretty careful from Makrozerek, even though he has the resources and probably the infrastructure to remake it quickly. He has lots of barracks everywhere, yeah. He just doesn't want to overcommit, so he's just slowly shooting it with the catapults, then maybe with some decrease, and now he will maybe go for the final push. Some final attempts with the Steambirds here, dealing some damage to the economy. Also this, but yeah, he lost the tower now. This waves will now also fall, which means basically no more income for Suvak. Or at least it's running really short, not much remaining. So many Phoenixes now for Suvak, for protection against the enemy Phoenixes, but Makrozerek is not even utilizing Phoenixes to kill the Steambirds. He made few of them, but he just has so much other fire damage from the Elf Rangers and mages that he just doesn't really need the Phoenixes there, and that means, yeah, this is just one shot, and these Phoenixes of Suvak won't be able to do anything here anymore, unfortunately. And we are at the end of the replay, so I guess it should end at any second, and Suvak calls it GG and leaves. So yeah, pretty interesting game, a nice mirror of two empires between Makrozerek and Suvak. Game lasted 31 minutes, so once again a little bit longer, but pretty nice. Basically same kills and losses on both sides. I think Suvak was actually getting better trades throughout the game, but then at one moment he lost so many units to the decrease, he lost the base there, and after that it just snowballed, and at that time Makrozerek already had small economical advantage, and after that it just totally went the wrong direction for Suvak. The Steambirds also didn't get much value there, probably just mages would be better actually with decrease. But yeah, after that lost fight, I would say it was pretty much GG. Makrozerek also had 4 more researches, basically same infrastructure, of course more destroyed buildings, and resources, yeah, 5k more gold, while he still had actually 15k gold unspent. Actually not 15, yeah, 5k. Sorry, I don't know why I read 15, but yeah, he basically had, he spent the same resources as Suvak harvested, so it just wasn't really any difference in this, but he still had the buffer there, so if he would mess up, he could still remake the army, while Suvak was on 0 resources, so this was really a huge advantage. He also didn't spend as many gems, but could have, and in terms of wood, they didn't really need it, even though actually Suvak spent more wood than Makrozerek even made or gathered, but of course he was making the Steambirds, which are extremely expensive on wood, so that kinda makes sense. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next one, so take care.